Hello, Anime Addicts. The time has come. The time for you to make a difference. Time to feel some positivity to start 2021 off right. So, for the first 3 months of 2021, we will be donating 50% of all incremental support we receive during that time to the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. And I believe that together we will be able to make a difference. So if you head over to our website, aapodcast.com/join our Patreon, or click that donate link on the top of the homepage, 50% of all of it is going to go to the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. So again, that's aapodcast.com/join our Patreon, or click that donate link on top of the page. And as always, we thank you so much for everything that you do. And now it's time to start the show.
You're listening to the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast. Take your anime addiction to the next level at aapodcast.com/join. And now, here are your anime addicts.
Yo, yoroshiku. Welcome to all of you tuning into the podcast today for episode 557 of the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast. We are live on Twitch. Hello to the audience on Twitch, and to all of you at home. Thank you for making us a part of your day as we continue to make your anime addiction worse. I am your host, Mitsuki, and I am joined by the fantastic Mandy, back from the holiday. Mandy, how are you?
Hello. I am happy to be here. I had a lot of fun last weekend with my sister, and we yelled at each other over Overcooked and made up new colorful names for each other.
Ooh.
But it was fun. And I'm here with my long-ass hair, ready to, I don't know, climb out a tower or something.
You overcooked the egg. You spilled milk.
A little bit worse than that, but
no mention on the flex of your sweatshirt.
Oh,
my Sailor Moon one?
Oh, it's very cute.
I love my new hoodie.
And that manly.
I got it for $10.
Oh wow, that's a cheap hoodie. Good deal. And that manly voice you just heard is Mason. Mason, how are you?
I'm doing all right. Manly, that's a new one. Thank you. Apologies, my next door neighbor is aggressively snow blowing his driveway, so if you hear any of that or any limbs hit my window, just ignore it, and he'll be done soon. So good to be here.
Again, thank you to all of you watching on Twitch, twitch.tv/AAA podcast, live Sundays at 5 p.m. Eastern. If you haven't joined us yet, do so please. It's a lot of fun, a lot of people here watching. We're also on Facebook and Discord. If you want to check out our Discord, you can do it from our homepage, aapodcast.com. I'm going to crack it. Oh, but it's not a monster today. We are at a monster. I'm drinking a diet ginger ale, which is amongst the most delicious things that I know.
Still a bamboozle.
Oh, but it's a mason jar in honor of Mason.
At least you have that going for you.
Filled with ice to the top with diet ginger ale, so it's pretty good. Guys, on New Year's Day, I did release a bonus episode for you. Enzo wanted to say hello, so he chimed in, said hello, read a bunch of Enzo Senpai's Notice Me Corners. If you want to head over to that episode on iTunes or wherever you listen from, you can check out Enzo. It was pretty heartfelt episode, so I listened to the whole thing, and it was a pretty tearjerkery at times, but fun and humorous at others, so definitely worth a listen. And if you want to submit Enzo Senpai Notice Me Corners, again, you can do that via the Mailbag button on the website. So, you eating Oreos today, Mason?
I am, because I, too, listened to Enzo's podcast, and I was feeling the vibes. I was feeling the good energy. I was feeling the love for my boy. And I told him that on Twitter, but I also mentioned I really didn't have Oreos to partake with him. And he kind of reprimanded me for it. So, in honor of you, Enzo, in case you're watching, I got a whole big old stack of these. Let's see if we can separate them.
Make it count.
As you would do.
Make it count.
moderately.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah.
I'd say that's 85% good. I mean, it's a pretty thin wedge.
It's kind of an all or nothing thing, Mason,
for a first time, all right, but nowhere on Enzo's level. We need you back, my guy. So there you go. That one's for you. I should probably eat it too, but we'll get to that later.
He said Mandy be clapping also. So, yay, that's for Enzo.
And yes, Smits does actually listen to the podcast when he edits it. Yeah.
Oh, trust me, there's plenty of editing. So, guys, this episode, we have a really good one for you. We're going to be doing the Discord Best of 2020. Lots of people from around the community weighed in on all sorts of aspects of the 2020 year, so you'll be able to hear the best and the worst anime and everything in between. So stay tuned for that in our main topic, and also a review of the listener choice anime Tonikaku Kawaii, aka Fly Me to the Moon. So we will be covering that a little later after the news break. But first, we have the big news of the week. So as we always do, let's hop right to it.
大ニュースです。It's time for big news of the week.
Well, I kind of think it was inevitable, but the Demon Slayer movie has eclipsed Spirited Away on top of the Japanese box office. It is now the highest grossing film in Japan's history. So I think it was kind of a foregone conclusion, to be honest, since the last time we mentioned this. It has now grossed $315 million US and still climbing. In fact, movies are coming out, like new movies are coming out, and it is still like ahead of those even. So there's really, I don't know, it's just dominating. Spirited Away's number was at, let me see here. It has passed Spirited Away by almost $1 billion yen. So that's carry the zero, like $10 million, I guess. So, and the other top films for 2020, in case you guys want to hear them, Kyo Kara Ore wa Geki Joban came in second with $52 million, which is pretty significant. Confidence Man JP, Princess Hen, came in third with $37 million. Eiga Doraemon Nobita no Shin Kyoryu came in fourth. Doraemon, just timeless, with $32 million. It's like the 700th Doraemon movie. And Jiko Buken Kawaii Madori came in fifth with $23 million. So, I don't know. Demon Slayer was more than all the 2 through 5 combined, and easily. So it's just a total domination. Just like a total consumption of all records now belong to Demon Slayer, I think. So
It's crazy.
it is crazy. You know, like it's like
I never would have guessed it would get that big.
it's like it sold like 83 million manga in 2020 alone.
Yeah.
I mean, what? That like puts it in like the top 30 like in 1 year alone. I mean, that's just total nonsense.
It's crazy because it looks beautiful, of course, UFO table, and I mean, it's fun, but it's not like I didn't think it was anything like brand new.
All you guys are doubting. Don't put Nezuko in a box.
Oh, okay.
You're
I'm
good
sorry.
for it.
Why are we clapping this episode?
I don't know. You got me going. Enzo got me going.
Oh, okay.
Is this just the power of Nezuko? I mean, is it?
I was being facetious,
I
making
mean,
a joke about
could.
she's actually in a box.
Well,
but,
listen. What does Demon Slayer have that other shonen shows don't have? A Nezuko in a box, right?
And
I don't know.
a really
It's my
annoying
Nezuko in a
subcast.
I don't know. So whatever. People love Demon Slayer. Who am I to judge? I thought it was fine. So I mean, you know, whatever. So it is what it is. But that's the news. That's my news. It's Demon Slayer now owns everything. So owns all records. So
Well, my
much.
news, if you are upset that Ghibli has been toppled by Demon Slayer, you can show your Ghibli love because Animate just released the Ghibli Vinyl Collection, which is a collection of concept albums and soundtracks that you can purchase and have been remastered with new cover art, and they look really cool. And I think if this had come out, a month ago, I would have been like, oh, pick this up because this will make a great gift. I think they're reasonably priced for A, vinyls, and B, stuff coming out of Japanese properties. The concept albums, I think, are really cool because they're recordings that Joe Hiyashi did kind of ahead of the soundtrack. Like Miyazaki would write notes based on what he wanted, and these were like the original thoughts of what he wanted the stuff to sound like. So that could be a cool collector's item as well. So if that sounds interesting, check them out on Animate's international store. I might consider picking one up myself, but these will probably sell out quickly, so get on it if that seems up your alley. So not really big news, but I thought it was interesting and cool.
I don't really have any big news this week. I was looking through the news. I was like, there's nothing that really is striking me. So all I really have is that there's been a bunch of news for the new Sailor Moon Eternal movies that are coming out this year. I almost said next year. This year. We are 2021 now. But this year, there's 2 movies coming out. Which is like continuing Crystal, and they're called Sailor Moon Eternal, and they've teased Helios in them, so I guess it's Sailor Moon Super S. But yeah, I guess there are trailers for those if you would check them out. That's all I have.
Okay. Yeah. I will say, just going back real quick, that that Spirited Away record did hold for 20 years. I mean, that's a long time, you know. It seems like movies don't really hold the box office record in the U.S. for like all that long. It's like Avengers and then the next Avengers and the next Avengers. So 20 years is kind of a long time. So, you know, for those of you that feel sad. So have you guys seen the Demon Slayer movie? I mean, I haven't.
It hasn't come out.
I wonder if
stateside.
if it's like that good, or if it's just because it has Demon Slayer in the title. So, all right. Well, I guess we'll find out eventually. Okay.
I'm sure it looks spectacular.
I'm sure
but we will get to that one day.
It's probably
today.
Yeah, eyeball melting stuff.
We got a big topic for you guys. It's the best of 2020 anime poll and kind of our review of 2020 as a whole. First, I want to lead off with a massive thanks to all of you guys who submitted a response for it. Every time you guys give us feedback and help us with mailbags and Shark Tanks and all the trivia stuff, like, we feel the love, and it makes this podcast so much more engaging, and it wouldn't be the same without you guys. So thank you so much for doing it. That said,
yeah, good job, guys.
Before we get to the responses, do you guys have any general thoughts, ideas you want to push out in the sphere of how you thought 2020 anime went? Your experience with it? Just anything.
I felt like every season I was like, man, this is a weak season. There's like only one show I care about. But it was weird because when I went back and looked through it, I was like, there are more than 10 on my list that I want to put on here. They're like the ones that like stood out to me really stood out. So overall, it wasn't a super eventful year for anime, but there are still some really good shows in there, and I really struggled with my top 10, and I had to put a lot in my honorable mentions.
I think that I feel like I watched less anime in 2020 than I have in a long time. I feel like I went back and started watching old anime from TV, but that's not to say 2020 wasn't fine. It's just, sometimes I just jump around, and I'm also playing old video games. But I do think that if 2020 was a subpar anime year, it's going to cause what I think might be the best year of anime in a long time, which is 2021. So 2020 and 2021 have been in cahoots. They're like, we're just gonna. It's like when a sports team just gives up on the season so they can get the number 1 draft pick. So we tanked 2020 so we can get the number 1 draft pick for 2021, and 2021 is going to be fucking awesome. So and it's here. I think the season starts like tomorrow officially or whatever. So it's going to be pretty awesome. That would be my thoughts.
Yeah, 2020. I mean, obviously with everything that was going on, I was at home with a lot more time on my hands, and I watched far more anime this year than any other year. Both 2020 shows specifically, I think I watched like over 120 of them, as well as like shows from the past, and I watched way more than I ever needed to. But I feel like Mandy, there's a lot of good stuff that came out this year, and putting together a top 10 was rather difficult. So with that in mind, before we get to our top 10 and further nominations, any honorable mentions you want to shout out? Mandy?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so my honorable mentions, the first one was Hanako-kun. I couldn't fit it on my list, but I still thought the art style is just so cool and unique, and it was a really fun show. I I put King's Avatar season 2 and Heaven Official's Blessing on my honorable mentions to avoid people going, "Those aren't anime, they're donghwas." I put them on my honorable mentions. Don't worry. I'm not putting them in my top 10, but they're still amazing. You should check them out. Heaven's Official's Blessing is on Funimation, and I don't know if King's Avatar is yet, but that's on available on YouTube. And also, Sleepy Princess and the Demon Tower is ended up being far more fun than I thought it was going to be. And I started it, and I was like, I can't stop watching. It was just a joy. And then I put Jujutsu Kaisen on there because technically it's not finished yet, so it's honorable mentions instead of top 10. And I also ended up putting Decadence on my honorable
Oh,
mentions, which I actually really enjoyed that show, but it was fighting with another one of my top 10 picks, and I ended up having to choose between the two. So, but I still thought it was a really interesting show, and so I put it on my honorable mentions. Yeah.
Mitsugi, what were your honorable mentions for 2020?
well, I just want to say first that people watching on Twitch, feel free to call out your own favorites as we go through, because this episode's really about the people. So, you guys, the Discord submitted most of these, but hey, the Twitch audience, you guys are the people too. So call out your favorites. My list was a little shorter. I actually only did a top 5. I just didn't really feel like I had a full 10 shows that I wanted to list. But there were a couple that probably could have made it, they could have rounded out like a top 7 for me, which was Somali and the Forest Spirit. Thought that was really cute. Very imaginative show. I enjoyed that a lot. And Kaguya-sama Love is War Season 2 was definitely solid, if nothing else, consistent to the first season. And, just brought more of the same, comedic fun that the first season had. So, obviously those aren't going to be in my top 5, but they definitely are, they would be near the top on probably any year. So
Nice. And my honorable mentions, like Mandy, I had Jujutsu Kaisen on there. I just didn't feel right scoring it and placing it with half of the show still to go, but I'm loving it so far. I want to shout out With a Dog and Cat, Every Day is Fun. This is one of the best looking shows, and it's like a 3-minute short, and it's so adorable, and it takes no time to check it out, so do so. Haikyuu to the Top, Season 4, Part 1. I thought, overall Haikyuu was a bit of a dip in quality, but nonetheless, Haikyuu still brings me so much joy, and I loved it, so had to put it on there. And then Olympia Kai Close, this is like a weird acid trip, 5-minute like claymation thing that is barely considered anime, and it's like you'd find it on like 2 a.m. on Adult Swim, but nonetheless, it was a ton of fun. The ending songs are hilarious, and it deserves a little bit of love for how zany and obscure it is. So with that, we will go to the official top 10 list of 2020. A little bit of stats from the users. There were 166 shows that came out last year.
Oh, wow.
Over 100 of the shows got at least one nomination. So at least 66% of shows were good enough to get on someone's top 10 list. So we had well over 100 people fill out the poll. So there's a lot of shows that deserve love that did not make this list. And if you want to know why, I voted for the show, why isn't it on the top 10? You can blame my very advanced formula of addition and subtraction to figure out this top 10. So there are plenty of shows that got votes that just weren't enough to crack it, and they're all good and they're all amazing, but we only have room for 10, and thus we'll start with the listener's choice, number 10, and I think we'll just go across the row for each of us. But number 10 from the listeners was Rent a Girlfriend. And this was interesting because a lot of people also didn't like the show, as we'll get to later, but an interesting number 10 to start us off. Mandy, what was yours?
Listeners are all horny. My number 10 was Great Pretender, because even though I thought the last case that they had was a bit weird, but overall I still thought the show looked fantastic, especially during 2020, which was amazing, because a lot of shows, even some of the most popular ones, really dipped because people or studios were really struggling to keep up. But yeah, so Great Pretender, fantastic music. I really, really like the dub. And overall, I thought it was very enjoyable. So I put it in my top 10 as number 10. Also, I feel like when we are done, we should probably list anything that we never got to so that people don't feel like we just ignored it.
Fair
there's
enough. Fair enough.
there's at least one show that I didn't see and I kind of wish I had gotten to. So, oh well.
My number 10 show was this was also like a fighting spot for a lot of shows. It kind of was rounding off the end of my list, but number 10 is Kakushigoto. At the end of the day, I love the aesthetic of the show. I love the pun-based comedy of it, and while it's a little sappy and unearned for what it is, it just looks so good, and I love the experience watching it that I had to put it on there. So that's my number 10. Number 9 for the listeners was Haikyuu Season 4, and that was collected both parts 1 and 2, so Haikyuu remains ever popular and ever a fan favorite.
My number 9 was Akudama Drive, which this is the one that I was really fighting with with Decadence, because they both kind of deal with a Akudama Drive I think has a really fantastic cyberpunk world, and they both kind of deal with a group of people trying to escape a very oppressive system. So I was really struggling hard trying to decide between the two, but I think after thinking about it for a while, I think I enjoyed Akudama Drive just a little bit more, and so I ended up putting that one on my list.
And we'll be reviewing that next
week.
episode.
Yeah.
So watch that now if Mandy's inspired you. I, on the other hand, thought Decadence was better than Akudama Drive, and thus I had Decadence as my number 9 show. I thought the ending was a little whatever, but the start of the show was so good, and the show has pipe in it, so by that alone, it made the top 10. So Decadence for me. Number 8 from the listeners, like Mandy's number 10, is Great Pretender. People love Wit Studio, and it looks so good, so not much more to say other than that.
My number 8 is Somali in the Forest Spirit, because that one ended up being such a joy, especially during a really hard year. Except it's not entirely all wholesome, good fun. There are definitely some darker moments in there, but overall, just Somali was such a joy to watch every week, and just seeing her try, like, her childlike curiosity witness this like horrible situation around her, I just thought was just something that I really needed during this year. So my number 8, and also it looks beautiful.
My number 8, to the disdain of my host, is Sing Yesterday for me. Just a romance show that I really got into. Some other people really didn't. It has a raven in it, and once again, that's enough for me to put it on my list. I thought it was the best real quote-unquote strict romance of the year, and I needed it, and I had a great time with it, and I hope some other people liked it.
Number
7. Ooh, I forgot we're doing that. Yeah, lists. I love them. From the listeners is Kaguya-sama Season 2, a comedic romance of sorts that if you have not watched by now, you absolutely should. It's great, and it's amazing, and it's precious, and listeners agree.
My number 7 was Fruits Basket Season 2, because I absolutely love what they're doing with Fruits Basket, and now it's adapting stuff that's went past where the first adaptation of Fruits Basket left off, and we're getting some really dramatic stuff, and I feel like how they're handling it is great, and I really enjoyed Season 2. It's kind of nice when the first Fruits Basket adaptation was just kind of very silly slapstick, and now people know that the series was a lot darker than or a lot more dramatic than what the first adaptation led you to believe. So how they're handling it, I love it, and I'm excited for probably the last season. I think I could see it wrapping up in Season 3.
My number 7, the memes are real. It's happening. Gal and Dino was so good and so relaxing, and the people who did Pop Team Epic decided to, instead of trying to be all kooky and zany just for the sake of it, to actually use their creative talents to make something so positive and wholesome. And Gal and Dino unironically brought me so much joy this year, and I love it. So watch it.
Number 6
man, I'm too eager. I'm jumping the gun too much. From the listeners, Fruits Basket season 2, as Mandy just listed off, a cavalcade of reasons. It's a really good show, and love for it continues. So a lot of sequels on the listener list, but all well earned.
Yeah, I do have a lot of sequels on my list as well. I felt kind of bad. I was like, I feel like I should give some of the other ones a spotlight, but some of these sequels I just couldn't ignore.
Couldn't not
Like,
put them on.
yeah, like number 6 was Haikyuu Part 4 or Season 4 for me. Both parts 1 and 2, which I mean, that studio got hit really hard with COVID, and they had to outsource the to a lot of places overseas, and it didn't look great. But even despite the animation setbacks, it was still such an enjoyable, emotional season for me, and I ended up really loving it, and I can't wait for the next part because, yeah, the way it ended, I thought the final episode of part 2 was so emotional. I really loved it. I took a second, had to go back and rewatch some of the moments and scenes in that. So yeah, check out Haikyuu season 4 if you haven't already. It's done now.
It is. My number 6, Mandy said everything I needed to about it. Somali and the Forest Spirit, so wholesome, so adorable. One of the best first episodes of the year, and just immediately brought me in, and I loved it the entire way through. So check it out.
Number 5.
From the listeners, one we haven't reviewed on this podcast, my teen romantic comedy Snafu Climax, aka Origairu Season 3. I honestly haven't made it very far into this series, so I can't speak to it too much, but another sequel that's got a lot of love.
It keeps on going, doesn't it? I already mentioned a few times my number 5, Great Pretender. Liked it a lot. Thought it was pretty clever. You know, had some twists and turns I didn't see coming. I appreciated the unique art style of it. So it'll be something I'll remember for a while.
My number 5 was Kaguya-sama Season 2, Love is War. As I said in our review, I thought I actually enjoyed Season 2 more, maybe a little more than Season 1. And yeah, it was just, even though it's still taking this very silly premise, and it's still finding new ways to make me laugh. So I'm just really excited for Season 3 as well. And great OP, great ED. Characters is still so much fun, and yeah, I'm excited, and hopefully we get somewhere in the relationship in Season 3. I feel like we're making some progress.
Come on.
We don't need it.
Yes, we do. Shh.
We need smooches.
No, that's how you get the cooties.
Ugh.
Yeah, I know.
Hey girl, you're looking so fine.
That's blending our ew disgusting sounds with oh yeah. But my number 5 is Blade of the Immortal. This was a super obtuse and dark and depressing and violent piece that I really dug. The sound design is fantastic. Story is exceptional. And while I think the manga is a whole lot better, nonetheless, I enjoyed the adaptation despite the issues it had. So Blade of the Immortal, my number 5 pick.
Number 4.
Listeners, stepping their game up, going with Keep Your Hands Off Eizouken. They know it's what. It's so good. It's amazing. And need I say more? I think not.
For me, it was Drifting Dragons. I thought that show was pretty creative, a lot of fun, a lot of really good-looking food. So the food porn from Drifting Dragons, pretty high level, and some really exciting scenes of just like the dragon hunting. And honestly, I thought it looked great for a show that was CG. So appreciated Drifting Dragons a lot. So I'm going to give that one a call out.
My number 4 was Season 3 of Golden Kamuy. And it's kind of funny because I started Season 1 earlier this year. And I took a long break before watching Season 2. I watched Season 2 right before Season 3 started. I just kind of kept on going. And Season 3, I felt was the best season out of all of them. And again, this one also got hit pretty hard by COVID. But even despite that, like the animation issues, I thought this season had some really great dramatic moments between the characters, and also more naked men. Look, it's fantastic. I love it. It has this weird balance between like historical, crazy action, very hard-hitting drama, and or emotional drama, and then naked fun times. It's like it's almost kind of like a Gintama for me. So I loved season 3 though. I thought it was one of the best out of what has come out so far.
Sausages! Sausages!
There's a lot of those.
Would say season 3 of Golden Kamuy was definitely the best of the batch. As someone who just rewatched season 2 on Friday and season 3 yesterday, season 3 was a marked improvement than the previous two. And also Drifting Dragons was almost on my list. It was fighting with Kakushigoto. But my number 4 has got to be Kaguya-sama season 2. Like Mandy, I got the joke of season 1 and I was like, let's see if it can hold on and be up to par with it. And it succeeded it despite my reservations. The opening was so great, the characters were phenomenal, and it remains a constant source of dependable comedy, and it's fantastic.
Number 3.
From the listeners, and the show that actually got the most total votes of all of them is Jujutsu Kaisen. Despite not being finished, with half the episodes out, you guys absolutely loved it, as we will see in the following categories. But it's been such a solid shonen so far. I haven't been keeping up to it since about halfway through the first season, but I can see where the love comes from. Mandy, do you have any?
Oh no, I'm really enjoying it as well. But I do want to warn people that when we get to our Oscars, Jujutsu Kaisen won't be on it because we only do things that end in that year. So even though it's on here, you won't see it on the Oscar awards, and so don't feel like it just got ignored.
We like the
But-
show, don't worry.
yeah. It'll be on next year's in 2021's. But yeah, no, it's great. It's funny because when I read the first volume for Manga Minute, I was kind of like, it's very tropey. It feels like it's just taking all these shonens and squishing them together. And then when I watched the anime adaptation, I'm like, this is actually really good. So I'm really enjoying it. So I'm excited for more.
Mitz, your number 3?
Number 3 here, Eizoken. It's got to make the list, just for the creativity and the spirit of all the girls in it. They were all just a lot of fun, and the art style again, a lot like Great Pretender. Very memorable and such an easily recommendable show to a lot of people. So, Eizoken making number 3.
My number 3 is Dorohedoro, which was a manga adaptation that I thought was going to be impossible. And somehow they pulled through. And I thought it was so fantastic. And like even despite like when the trailers first released, I thought, some of this CG looks a little wonky. When it actually released, I was like, you know what? Nope. The background art is just so god tier. It's amazing. And it did take some getting used to the character models, but after a while I didn't even like notice anything off about them. But the way they adapted it, I thought was really well done, and it has Noi. What else do you want?
That's true.
Mandy's not wrong. Mandy's not wrong, because like her, my number 3 is also Dorohedoro. Yes, it does take a half an episode to kind of digest how some of the characters look. They're a little spongy, a little soft, but that's fine because they're also lovable, and the characters just suck you in, the world sucks you in, and despite having an ending that kind of leaves you hanging, the ride is unlike anything else you'll find this year, and it's a must watch. So watch it, please.
Number 2.
Another sequel from the listeners, but I think they got this one right. Season 3 of Chihayafuru. It's more of the best sports anime. Just letting that sink in. That came out this year. It's just so good. It's so good. The first 3 episodes of the series, if you're trying to start it off, is a little bit odd. Just stick with it. It pays off. And this, like Kaguya, was the best series, or the best season of the series so far. So season 4 win. Don't make us wait another decade.
For me, number 2 is Dorohedoro. Don't really have much more to say that you guys haven't already just said a moment ago. I just say, really damn good.
My number 2 was Azokin. Keep your hands off Azokin. I actually was not here for the review, but I did give a very lengthy reviews. I think Mason read for me, and I really super appreciate that because I thought this was such a fantastic show, especially just like as just a love letter to animation. And I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I was really impressed by it. So yeah, Azokin number 2, and I'm sure somebody else will talk more about it in their list.
Maybe. My number 2, like I said for the listeners, was Chiaofru season 3. Had some of the hardest hitting moments of the year. Made me a little choked up a bit. Not crying. I'd never cry. Don't ever think I would do such a thing. But choked up, maybe. And so many best boys, so many best girls, so much intense competition, and it had everything. And it's phenomenal. Please watch this show.
Number 1.
This is crazy.
Number 1 from the listeners was Doro Hidoro.
There's no, I didn't think anybody else was watching it. I honestly didn't.
It was
That's crazy.
close.
I feel like no one
close.
talked about it on our Discord. I could be wrong. I'm kind of surprised it wasn't Jujutsu Kaisen.
It just had enough. I mean, it had plenty of votes. It had, I'd say, 50% of people almost on the poll voted for Doro Hidoro at some part, but enough people had it high enough in their list. And I think people just valued the creativity, the originality of it, just how much of a whiplash it was. It's this dark, demented place, but it doesn't feel oppressive. Like there's just a positivity to this show, despite the environment, that I think people really appreciated. And I'm so glad that you guys did, because I know Mandy's been championing it for longer than I have, and I'm just thrilled that you guys enjoyed it. So Doro Hidoro, listener choice number 1.
When I did the Manga Minute for Doro Hey Doro, I read the first volume because it was such like a cult favorite in the manga community. And I read the first volume and I was like, Manga Minute, next episode. Doesn't matter. Anything else I had on my list is getting pushed. I have to do this one. So yeah, I'm excited that it finally got an anime, and I'm looking forward to any more. And the Omake little OVA special episode is so enjoyable, and it doesn't have the I don't think it was CG. I don't think it had any CG in it. So yeah, you should check that out as well.
Yeah, the specials were really good. I mean, it was such a good series that I started her other manga series of Die Dark because I just needed more content. So, and it's a completed manga series. So if you need more and you can't wait for season 2, which we better be getting, you can go finish it. So Doro Hidoro, watch it, people. Mitz?
For me, not really what I think is probably, if I have like the critic hat on, probably not the best anime, but certainly I would say the anime I had the most fun watching is Itai no wa Iyana no de bo Gyoryoku ni kyoku furi shitai to omoimasu, aka Bofuri. I'm happy I put it here. I didn't see it anywhere else. And Bofuri, total lots of fun. Just some really shockingly good action scenes in Bofuri, and a show that totally took me by surprise as what I thought would be just another run-of-the-mill people playing video games, anime, a la Dot Hack and all the rest, and found that I really just enjoyed it a lot more than I thought. The pacing was great. The characters were a lot of fun. And I just enjoyed being a part of that video game world for a little while. And if that was a video game in real life, I might play it. So I can't even remember what the game was called now. I think it was like a pretty generic name. But overall, Bofuri was probably the show I had the most fun with. So I wanted to throw it up there.
Mitz, what do you say to folks like General Mills who are aghast that you, the Pope of the Church of Mitsugi, has picked a Moe show?
I don't really consider Bofuri a Moe show.
It's pretty Moe.
I mean, the characters in it are
very Moe.
So some of them
not
are
too deeply into the truth, and you will not be overwhelmed by by its revelation.
Yeah, I mean, some of the characters in it are young. Like, I guess Moe characters seem like they have to be girls, but like a lot of some young girl characters in Bofuri. But I'm not used to seeing like this like blistering action from Moe shows. So I don't know. I don't. When I think moe, I think like K-On! And for me, this doesn't really seem like it fits in the wheelhouse. Although maybe we'll get to see some of those moe girls get chopped up and eaten by some monsters here in the next season. So one can only hope.
Um,
I
sorry, I
can't
was
tell if
trying to
he's
hold my
I
laugh
can't tell if
in.
he's digging a pit to moe hell or digging a pit for him to be in. I can't. We appreciate it nonetheless.
Before I get to my number one, I just want to say it was really surprising that neither the listeners or Mitsuki had ReZero Season 2 in their top 10s. I'm really surprised about that because I thought people loved it.
I thought about it, Mandy, honestly, but like I stopped at that fifth show, and like I thought ReZero Season 2 was boring. I did. Like it was, to me, it had some scenes, like the scene where he's getting eaten by all the rabbits and shit was pretty intense, but like it just didn't have like what Season 1 had. I don't know. I thought about it. It probably would have been in the top 10, but
My guess,
whatever.
Mandy, is that people like us with Jujutsu Kaisen are waiting for part 2.
Probably.
That's the only thing, but I am also surprised that it didn't get enough, and it wasn't even close to the top 10.
Damn. So my number one, to no one's surprise, is Chihaya Furu Season 3. It is by far the best season out of Chihaya Furu, and we got so much character development in this season, and it was very emotional. Every episode, I was like, I can't wait for this week to pass by. And there were some times where I purposefully delayed an episode because I was like, I can't wait a week to watch this. It was really hard and so good, and it was just the directing in it was so fantastic. It's amazing. So if you have not started Chihaya Furu yet, you should start now, right now. Just turn this off and go watch it.
I restrained from watching any of the third season until it was complete, and getting to
Smart thing to do.
marathon that show as well as Haikyuu, marathoning both those shows were some of the most pleasant watching experience I had all year. Just knowing that I immediately had the next one queued up was such a fun ride. My number one show, to no one's surprise, because I am the Yuasa fanboy, despite it not being quite on the same 10 out of 10 level as some of his other stuff, is Keep Your Hands Off Eizouken. It has everything that I love about anime and animation compressed into one solitary experience. I could watch the trio of girls just chat all day long and eat ramen and reminisce on animation techniques and just explore their world and just imbue me with the life and passion that they have for the medium. It just brought me so much joy and never failed to deliver. And I thought episode 1 was the weakest of the batch, and it was still straight fire. Eizouken is easily my number one show of the year, and I hope everyone enjoyed it as much as me. So with that, we're going to get to the real spicy opinions now, because talking about shows, that's boring. First up, though, I want to mention something that was interesting. I asked the listeners what their favorite season of anime is of 2020, and the comeback winner, it won in 2018, I believe, and it now has taken the lead for the second time. Fall has regained the lead with 40.8% of the vote, just edging out Winter with 35%. Summer was at an abysmal 9.7%. But if you look at the listeners' top 10, more shows were from Summer than any other season. So it just proves that even in the worst of seasons, there's still great gems coming out.
Mm-hmm.
So, a little fun fact, but next up we have the best OPs/EDs. And I kind of went through all your responses, and any show that got a nomination for their OP or their ED got a vote. And we had, like I said, over 120 plus responses. We had 44 unique shows that got some kind of mention. And because there were so many, I want to give some shout outs. Honorable mentions are the Dora OP and the numerous EDs. Tonikawa, which we'll be reviewing today, Fruits Basket Season 2, and Kaguya-sama Season 2 all got votes. But the jump between that set and the top two was immense. So by far the clear and away winners of the best OPs and ED of the season. Number 2 was Keep Your Hands Off Eizouken. And just beating it out, because the OP and the ED got a lot of votes, was Jujutsu Kaisen.
That's crazy. Jujutsu is just gonna
It's a
wreck
powerhouse.
everything. Yeah,
It's a powerhouse. It has a
it's the new
panda.
Demon Slayer. I'm just
It
kidding.
has a panda. It has a panda. You got to give it props
A
for that.
parkour panda.
That's very true. A CG parkour panda.
Yeah.
Mitz, what was your favorite OP?
I mean, honestly, I don't really remember very many of them, but I do remember the Kaguya-sama Love is War OP for season 2, so I went with that.
Yeah, I considered Eizouken because I do really like that OP, but I ended up putting my favorite OP as Kaguya-sama Season 2 because it's just so much fun. And just like Season 1, it was so catchy. I love the visuals in it, and I think that one, I ended up liking that one a lot more. I ended up separating mine. I didn't know if I was supposed to.
That's
I'm
that's
sorry.
completely allowed. That's
Okay,
completely
good.
allowed.
Because my ED was, of course, Great Pretender. But I also want to give a shout out to Dorohei Doro's one of the EDs, because there are multiple. The one that has like the Doom mushroom is fantastic. I
Is that
still
like
watch
the
that sometimes.
neon rave one?
um Brave one. No, it's the one where it looks like, oh, is that the name of the song?
No,
Is
no.
that
Like
the-
it looks like the mushrooms coming at you, and it's like flashing colors and stuff, like a Dr. Seuss
There are
book.
parts of that, but most of it looks like the Doom game, and he's
Okay,
going
yeah.
around with a mushroom and like turning people into mushrooms.
There's a lot of mushrooms in that show. I
Yeah.
love when shows have multiple EDs.
Mhm.
That's such a nice touch. My best OP, I actually tweeted about it, and I just want it to get more love, is from a small, like 3-episode Chinese donghua called Fog Hill of 5 Elements. And you should absolutely check it out. It's got animation that would shame Demon Slayer, and it sounds so good. It's like low key, it's relaxing, but it's also hype at the same time. It's so melodic, and it's amazing. So I have a link. You should go watch it. And then you should come back and realize this studio has like 7 people working on it, and they actually had the director do the singing for it because they needed more staff. And it's fire. I love it so much. So Fog Hill of the 5 Elements. The show's all right. It's just a bunch of action, but OP is amazing. Next up is the comfiest anime. We had 23 unique responses for it. And in order from least comfy to most comfy, we had a tie actually with Keep Your Hands Off Eizouken, Somali and the Forest Spirit, and Sleepy Princess. Number 2 is Bofuri. And number 1, we'll be reviewing it today, Tonikawa, Over the Moon for You.
What? How is Bofuri comfy? I guess it is.
It's
But
relaxing.
She. Okay, never mind. I can't say anything because mine.
I
Apparently, a lot of us, me and the listeners, we find murder very comfy.
it's the lack of danger. You just know they'll be
True.
safe. So I think that's what it was. And they're not wrong. They're not wrong. Mitz?
Honestly, I wasn't even really sure how to classify "quote unquote" comfy, but I was told
It's a feeling. It's
I was told that it was like something that made you give you like a warm fuzzy. So
almost moe, I would say.
I was like, okay, warm fuzzy. So I went with Somali and the Forest Spirit. Pretty great show in its own right, but it's definitely got a lot of cute stuff going on with the little girl. So I chose that one. It's also kind of just like whimsical and it is what it is. Not that shocking.
Yeah, mine was Sleepy Princess in the Demon Tower. But because after I said that, I was like, well, to be fair, she like mass murders creatures in every episode.
To make bedding.
But to have the greatest sleep ever. And I watched it sometimes before bed, and I was like, never mind, I'm just gonna binge through it because I'm having such a fun time. But yeah, Sleepy Princess in the Demon Tower, you should watch it. It's a lot of fun.
What are those things she always like convinces to like
The
sneak into a
bears?
room? Yeah.
I forgot
Or
what
like
they're
with the
called.
keys. She
Yeah,
always,
they're like
tricks them.
flying bears.
Okay, yeah. Those are adorable.
She tricks a lot of things and then murders them
For
to turn them into
stuffing.
beds.
Yeah. My comfiest anime, another donghua, because I don't play by the rules, is All Saints Street. They actually had 2 seasons come out, and Mandy, the show is right up your alley. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's like a vampire, a demon, a werewolf, a mummy, like are all like living in an apartment together. And
What?
the Lord of the Underworld, this little adorable boy, like joins them, and it's It's amazing. It's so comfy. I think you would
Okay.
absolutely adore this show. It's like
I'll check it out.
5-minute episodes, and OP is also fire. It's so good. Please watch it and let me know what you think. All Saints Street. It's a fun time.
It looks
Next
cute.
next up, I'll say this is the most important category of this entire thing. This and the next one. Best waifu. With 42 unique responses, we had a tie for third place. We had Toru Honda from Fruits Basket. Number 3 is Noi from Dorohedoro. Number 2 is Echidna from ReZero. And number 1 is Chizuru Ichinose from Rent a Girlfriend as Mitz shakes his head. Mitz, do you have any opinions on the matter?
I was thinking about playing the booing drop, but I thought I wouldn't. I don't. Okay. I don't know. I don't want to get into it. Wow. I'm just shocked. I'm just stunned completely.
She was a good character, though. She was my favorite out of the whole series.
Maybe she just shined brighter because of her cast.
Yeah.
Mitz, who is your favorite waifu of the year?
I still think it's Chika from Kaguya-sama. So she's just so spunky and fun and cute. So it's, I don't know. I think that's who I picked last year, and I'm sticking with it.
How many podcast bucks would we need to be donated for people to get you to do the Chica dance? Mitz.
I don't know. I'd have to look at the Chica dance again. Probably more money than exists in the world.
That's sad. I think you could pull it off. She has a hat with a bow on it, and she takes it off, and she has another bow on her hair. It's amazing. It's amazing. I think you could do it.
Or at least 3 bowls of ramen. You know, that might cover it.
That's a fair trade. Mandy.
Mine was, to no one's surprise, Noi from Dorohedoro. Look, if you follow me on Twitter, I like every art piece I see of Noi. Noi is fantastic, and she's so big and strong, and I just want her to carry me everywhere. And her relationship with Shin is super adorable. I love Noi.
So if you couldn't tell by now, I'm trying to pick choices that no one else really picked.
Trying to be elite.
I'm trying to share some love for little guys. And as a past performance of, waifu wars, there's so many good waifus that didn't get any mentions. You have Vanabelle from Drifting Dragons. You have Sorene from Oshibudo. You have Saki from Inspector. So many quality waifus. And I thought about all of them. But at the end of the day, there really is no one better than Noi from Dorohedoro. She just is perfect. And I couldn't fight the tide on this one. So, listeners, you really need to get educated. And just for that, I think Waifu Wars might be making a sporadic comeback every now and then. So stay tuned. Next up, also hotly contested, but not for the number 1 spot, is Best Husbando with 40 unique responses. We had another tie for third place, also from Dorohedoro, Kaiman, because I guess people are into the lizard boys. Nothing wrong with that. You also have Tanigaki from Golden Kamui. Number 2 was Ano's Voldigode from Demon King Academy. And number 1, by an absolute landslide, he sometimes goes by Goro. He sometimes goes by Goto. He sometimes goes by Hot Senpai Kakashi looking dude from Jujutsu Kaisen. But his name, if you spelled it correctly, would be Gojo Satoru. And he demolished the competition. He was the best husbando by far. Even, I was surprised we didn't get Kanbei from Millionaire Detective. He got a bunch of votes, but he didn't even crack the top 3.
Nah, I think people liked the first episode, and after a while, they were like, "Yeah, I'm kind of over this."
He didn't have the.
I'm surprised we didn't get any Golden Kamui characters in there.
We did.
Did we?
Tanigaki.
Oh, we did. Okay, never mind.
Papa
Everything
Tanigaki
is right.
made it on
Everything's
there.
all right. Look, we saw a bunch of butts in that show. I'm just saying. I'm happy one of them made it.
I think the comfiest moment in all of anime was when, I believe it was him, took a little nap in a pit with all the dogs laying over him.
Yeah.
That was mad comfy. But Mitz, who's your best husbando?
I chose Voldigode Anos. He's just too cool. The misfit of Demon King Academy. He's who else is gonna spin a castle on their finger? I don't know. Nobody's gonna do it. Easy choice.
My first one was Taichi from Chihayafuru. I have to. He's the best boy. But then I didn't include Gojo because I thought he was going to be included in 2021. But the honest answer is Gojo. Because look, he took that mask off and the entire internet exploded. He has beautiful eyes.
I'm smelling perhaps a back-to-back winner if he holds through to 2021.
Yeah. Yeah, he's gonna maybe that show is so popular because Gojo is so hot.
Maybe. Demon Slayer doesn't have Gojo. Come on.
I know. What does Demon Slayer have? A Nezuko in a box?
Yep.
They got a boy. He's
sexy
he's trying his
screaming.
best.
Oh yeah, boar boy. Yeah, Inosuke.
Yeah, he's pretty much he'd fit in with Golden Kamui if
Yeah.
you ride at home with them. My best husbando. Originally, I had the guy from the show about science fell in love, so they tried to prove it. He was kind of cute, but after finishing Heaven Official's Blessing, I gotta give it to San Long. He's smoking. He's a good looking dude, and he definitely gets it.
Sanlog is hot. Sorry, I had to jump in
And
there.
his relationship with the other lead is very kawaii.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got 2 things left. Bear with us, we're almost done. Next up is worst anime of 2020. And there were 37 unique responses from the listeners. Also, not really a contest on the winner. Number 3 was Japan Sinks 2020.
I'm gonna
Number
sit on
2
your face.
What? What was that? Who said that?
I'm gonna sit on your face.
Who said that?
You heard the lady.
It's definitely you, Mandy.
Said-
Oh, you all have one, I think. Oh, Mason does not have one yet.
We all have poop related.
How do I not have a negative a negative review drop? Number 2 is Rent a Girlfriend.
Yeah, but
Also-
I already ate this shit burger.
So it went from 10 best of the year also to second worst of the year. So only 1 to have done that. And the only show on the worst anime to not even receive a single vote for best anime and clearing away
Wow.
the worst, if you had seen it, is Gibby 8, which was
You don't like eating dog shit? There you go.
utterly repulsive on every level. This
Damn.
won by it had more than double the votes of Rent a Girlfriend. It was, if anyone has seen 5 minutes of the show, you would know how bad it really is, and was truly emblematic of 2020 as a whole.
Okay, wow. Well, having dropped those turds, I picked listeners. I think that anime was, wow, it was fucking terrible. So, that deserves to be on the list.
So mine, I did not see Jibiate, but from what I've heard of it and seen of it, it looks pretty bad. But instead, I chose one that I had to do an impression on, and I honestly only watched the first episode and knew that it was a big fat nope. Was Chofutsu Toshi Kashiwa Densetsu R, or also I don't even know what the translation of this is. It's like the Legend of Supernormal City Kashiwa. I don't know what it's called.
Doesn't even deserve a translation.
No, this one was pretty bad. It was a short, but it didn't even really have any animation. It looked more like a visual novel, and it was supposed to be funny, and it like the art was awful, and I did not find anything funny. Like it was like one of those times when you're like, I don't understand what's happening. And I watched the first episode, went, okay, I'm done. So I couldn't even like continue it. So yeah, it's that one. I don't think anyone even watched it. Like I couldn't even really find it. It was one of those during my picks where I struggled so hard to find it, and I ended up finding one video on YouTube, and I was like, I'm not even gonna like try and struggle to find the rest of it.
I don't have much more to say because Jibby 8 was clearly the worst, but I do want to point out of the top 3 worst anime, all 3 of them were my picks. Japan Sinks, Rent a Girlfriend, and Jibby 8 were all ones that I was like, ooh, this show looks like it might have potential. Let me put it up for impressions. And clearly, I do not know how to pick them. So let's keep that in mind moving forward.
Mason, what are you doing?
I'm dropping the ball. But with that in mind, let's end this with some positivity. What is the most hype show you have for 2021? The listeners, as no surprise, a ton of sequels. Number 3 was Attack on Titan Season 4. Number 2 was Promised Neverland Season 2. And number 1 was Dr. Stone Season 2. But I want to give a shout out to Horimiya, which was the only non-sequel show that was in like the top 5. So props to that as well.
Yeah.
Why should everyone be hyped for Dr. Stone?
Because Senku's a sweet little daikon boy. That's why. Yeah. I mean, because Dr. Stone, it brings something to the table in shonen that other shonens don't, which, like, the premise is pretty unique, and all of the way that they just approach the shonen stuff is just a lot of fun. All of the science and all the creating things and rebuilding society from, like, nothing, and watching them, like, come up with ways to, like, make light bulbs and all this. Like, it sounds dull, but, like, in reality, it's super interesting, just, like, seeing it happen, and a lot of the characters are a fuck ton of fun as well. It's not just like, oh, here's the 3rd tournament, or oh, here's this guy's power level. It's like Senku's like weak as shit. Like he can't fucking fight, but like he'll use his brain, and figure out how to like win you over by making a Coca-Cola in the fucking Stone Age. So it's just I don't know, it's just cool to watch, and now they're going to put the science to use because like a war for dominance and like effectively a Stone Age era is going to unfold in season 2, and Senku's going to be like making muskets and shit. It's going to be awesome.
Nice.
That's why.
My most hyped one for 2020. I mean, this is gonna be a weird one. It's the Uzumaki specials that are coming out on Netflix, because Uzumaki is my second favorite manga. And look, Junji Ito has not had any good adaptations of his works, and this one I feel like has a lot of promise. I feel like it. I can feel it. There's some good people on this team. I feel like this is it. So what I have seen of the trailers too looks really good. It kind of like, I feel like they're doing a good job of adapting what the manga looks like, and I'm really looking forward to it. So there's that, but also Horimiya as well. So that's all I got.
Yeah, they have Colin Stetson playing on those trailers for Uzumaki. That's always a good call.
The director is also the director of Mushishi, so I'm excited.
So I want to shout out Beastars also would have made the top 3 list if I had counted each time that Cammy wrote Beastars as her answer for most hype. She wrote it like 8 times in there.
Look, there's a lot of stuff coming out this year.
So much good stuff. And if you had asked me a couple months ago, I probably would have said the new season of the Idol show, Zombieland Saga. I would have probably said that. As a couple months ago, I finished reading To Your Eternity. And that probably is my number 1 at the moment. But as of less than an hour ago, Mandy linked to me this new dinosaur anime called Dinosaur Biori, done by the studio that did Agretzko, and it's about dinosaurs that are just hanging out in this little adorable room. So besides To Your Eternity, Dinosaur Biori, number 1 show of 2021. Mark it. Already put it on your top 10 list. I'm guaranteeing it now. It's definitely not going to be the worst anime of the year. And yeah.
I'm mad I forgot about To Your Eternity. It's weird because it was supposed to come out this season and then it got pushed back. Or maybe it was fall. It was supposed to come out already. Then it got pushed. And now I'm like, when are we getting it? Yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming out this year.
And it's a shame because it's such like a wintry styling thing. Like it would have been perfect.
The first
at the beginning. I know, but it would have fit well with that. We'll see.
It's so good.
I think it's coming out in spring, so yeah, excited for that. So, with that concludes our best of 2020 list. Hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully, we gave you a ton of good things to watch so that you can be prepared when we do our anime Oscars award in X amount of weeks. So, with that, Mandy.
Yeah, so now we're going to go on to our break, and we have a little bit of news trivia for you. The question we have is, in Tonikawa, Over the Moon for You, what part of Japan are NASA's parents from? Think about it, and we'll answer it after we come back from our break. Don't go anywhere.
Stay tuned. Hey, anime addicts, Mitsugi is here, and I'm bringing you your anime news break. Starting us off with a new anime adaptation based on Keigo Maki's manga Kawaii Dake Janai Shikimori, or Shikimori's not just a cutie. Getting an anime adaptation, the synopsis: Shikimori seems like the perfect girlfriend, cute, fun to be around, sweet when she wants to be, but she has a cool dark side that comes out under the right circumstances. And her boyfriend Izumi loves to be around when that happens. The synopsis based on the Kodansha comics. So if you're a fan of this manga property, look out for an anime adaptation coming out, I assume, pretty soon in the future. Next up, another new anime is coming out, Zombieland Saga Revenge, the sequel to the original Zombieland Saga, coming out in April 2021. Staff returning at Studio Mappa includes director Munehisa Sakai and also the scriptwriter, character designer, music composers, and the majority of the voice cast also retaining their roles. Of course, this is based on the 12-episode 2018 fall anime that came out based on the production company Avex Pictures and mobile game developer Psy Games. So if you're a fan of Zombieland Saga, you won't have to wait long, coming out in the spring. Next up, Amazon has announced its top anime for their service for 2020, rounding out the year with a little bit of a summary. The top 5 television animes on Amazon Prime are ReZero, Starting Life in Another World, Fire Force, Jujutsu Kaisen, Haikyuu to the top, and My Team Romantic Comedy Snafu. So lots of anime properties on Amazon, but those are the most popular. Next up, pivoting to video game news real quick. PlayStation 5 has shipped 3.4 million units in the first 4 weeks of its launch, making it the fastest selling PlayStation console of all time. According to DigiTimes, the PS5 is likely to reach as much as 18 million units in 2021, as much as the semiconductor capacity allows at various companies. So it looks like selling very well, and we'll have to see how it continues to pan out as time rolls on. And rounding aside, it looks like Toonami is going to be premiering the Attack on Titan final season on its block on January 9th. So the full lineup at that time will include Dragon Ball Super, Attack on Titan, the final season, Sword Art Online, Alicization Part 2, Fire Force Season 2, Assassination Classroom, SSSS Gridman, Naruto Shippuden, and Demon Slayer, running in that order from 12 a.m. to 3:30 a.m. A pretty badass lineup of shows coming out pretty soon here in January. This is Mitsuki, and this was your anime news break. And now, as always, as we do, time to get back to the podcast right now.
Hey there, listeners. We just wanted to take a second and thank you for all of your support. We have received requests for additional ways that you can help support us, and we really appreciate every bit of it. We wanted to come up with ways that we can also help give back, and so we decided that for the first 3 months of 2021, half of all of our additional support that we receive will be donated to the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. And many of you may already know this, or if you're new to the podcast, I was born with cystic fibrosis. And the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation is a donor-funded, nonprofit organization that helps fund research for drugs that will help people like me live a longer life. So if you want more information on that, you can check out the cff.org website. And again, we appreciate all of your support. You're awesome, and thank you so much for listening.
Hey, Steve Bloom here, voice of Spike Spiegel, Vincent Valentine, Leron from Gurren Lagann, Guillerman from Digimon, and a bunch of other crap. And I am a total anime addict, dude. Tune in, or else.
このポッドキャストはスポンサーの提供でお送りします。And now, great moments in Anime Addicts Anonymous History.
Joseph Joestar is so fucking jacked. He's on insane amounts of TRT. I mean, he has been juicing. I mean, forget Big Papa Pump, forget Hogan, all these fucking wrestlers. Joseph Joestar is jacked. He's been juicing. You could literally lift that rock off of Caesar.
That's probably why his mental capacity took a dive later in life.
He just couldn't get over the guilt?
Yeah, maybe.
Joseph's just like, you know what? He's such a great friend that I'm going to pound on the top of this rock with this headband because I'm just so distressed. But, you know, I could easily lift this rock off of him and give him a proper burial, but fuck it. He's good where he is.
He could sense the life force.
His mom doesn't care. She doesn't need to have a gravestone to visit. You know, the children will not come crying. You know, people will not weep in the streets. We'll just leave him there. Fuck it. Fuck it. Just leave him there.
What episode is that even from? I don't remember that.
I don't know. Some hunger-induced rant by Mitsugi, episode 457. I don't know. Someone will, Icy Rose will know. In Tonikawa, why did I want to say under the bridge?
Tonikawa under the bridge?
Adikawa.
Sounds very similar.
In Tonikawa, what part of Japan are Nasa's parents from? I guess the region is like probably Kansai area-ish, but like they're from Nara, I think was the answer. The city Nara, which is where all the deer are that'll like eat your clothes right off of you and stuff. They're wild.
I want to make a quick correction really quick, because when Andy brought up, ReZero, I would expect it to be higher, and I was like, it didn't even come close to 10th place. I was like, no, that doesn't sound right. It got tons of votes. So I went back, ran the numbers, and double-checked everything, and in fact, it was in 11th place. It lost by 0.01% on my score curve. So it was as close as it possibly could have been, and just making it out. So my apologies, but the scores don't change.
All right, and something else doesn't change. People love the Manga Minute, so let's get to it, people.
And now, let's take a minute for the Manga Minute with Mandy.
This is Mandy's Manga Minute, where I take a minute to tell you about a manga and help you find something new to read. And this one is called Kageki Shoujo, The Curtain Rises. And this is a manga, or the mangaka for this one is Kumiko Saiki. It's one complete omnibus. It's available in English. I know in print, I believe also digitally, but this also has an anime that has been announced for 2021. So, Kageki Shoujo, The Curtain Rises, is a drama about a young woman named Watanabe Sarasa. That's going to be a hard name for me to keep up with. But Watanabe Sarasa, and she dreams of joining the Takarazuka Revue Theater Troupe and play Oscar from Rose of Versailles. And if you haven't seen Revue Starlight already, the Takarazuka is an all-female theater troupe where all of the roles, both female and male, are played by women. And Sarasa meets a former idol at the Koka School of Musical and Dramatical Arts, and her name is Ai Narata. And Ai has some traumatic experiences with men in her life, so she came to this school, to this all-girls school, in hopes that it would help calm her anxiety. And the two girls become roommates, and their personalities instantly start to clash, because Sarasa is very cheerful, upbeat, and friendly with everyone. Ai is very mistrustful and very standoffish to everyone that is around her. But Sarasa's friendly demeanor helps Ai to break out of her shell and learn how to trust again. And the manga does start to go into the trope of senior members of the school who start to bully the newer members, but even they are no match for Sarasa's childlike innocence, which I thought was a really nice twist on that. But the manga still covers some, even despite that sounding very cute and wholesome, the manga still covers some very serious subjects that could be an issue for some people, such as implied sexual assault, of course, of a child. Also, it's very that could definitely be something to warn people about, and also eating disorders. But if you like strong character dramas with just a tiny bit of Yuri subtext in there, you can check this one out. It's classified as a seinen because the magazine it initially started publishing in was a seinen magazine, but later in the book, the chapters started releasing in a josei magazine, so it kind of just covers all the bases. But that one is called Kageki Shoujo: The Curtain Rises, and if you need to know how to spell Kageki, it's Kageki. So you can check that out.
Thank you, Mandy. And guys, while Mandy was doing her Manga Minute, something big and important happened. Big news here. Bracing for the moment. Are you guys ready?
I'm ready to get kicked off Twitch because of that drop.
The ferret is scurrying across the floor. It's so excited. It's filled with nerves.
What are you doing?
I got an email from Amazon, and 24 more cans of Pink Monster were just delivered to the mailroom. Oh my goodness! So exciting! So exciting! Christmas is saved.
I was gonna say, while Mandy was doing her Manga Minute, I had a couple Oreos, and those things are very. I'm gonna be smacking my lips the rest of this episode. Those dry you out.
Yeah, they're good. All right, and now
Kuma
we have
is just back there having a grand time, dumping water on the floor, zooming all over. He's just nuts.
He's having a grand old time. All right, guys, let's do some mailbags.
It's time for an almighty anime mailbag. Anime.
Mailbag. If you would like to leave a mailbag, you can do it at our website, aaapodcast.com. There's a button on the top that says mailbag, and you can do a lot more there than do mailbags. You can submit topic requests. You can do Living Big in Japan, Enzo Senpai's Notice Me Corner. Everything's there. Check it out. Lots of fun stuff. This mailbag, Mason, would you like to read it from Caroline?
I sure could. She writes, I would like to know if there is an anime that you really liked when watching, but for some reason or another, you can't bring yourself to rewatch. I remember binge watching Devilman Crybaby in one night, but with the hopeless and depressing storyline combined with the strange and sexual themes, I don't think I could sit through it again. That show is probably a one-time experience for most people, so how about you guys? And I said, I tend not to rewatch shows too often because I'm too busy watching shows that I haven't seen before, but there aren't like too many that I would be opposed to rewatching where I'm like, oh, this is so difficult to watch that I just can't see value in doing it again. But I would say shows that I think I got the full experience the first time, like Shigurui, Kaiji, Baby Steps, or like most of the Lupin series, I feel like I got enough of it the first time where I just wouldn't find value in it, but not too many where I'm so oppressed by it where I was like, it just is too miserable to re-examine.
For me, I think there's some anime that you just can't really watch twice. I think Your Lie in April is one of those. Like, you can only get the emotional impact that thing delivers one time, probably. It's, and sometimes some shows have like all the plot points just laid out, and or like mystery anime, you can only have the mystery one time, and it's in earnest. So maybe like Great Pretender would be a great example. Like, you're just not going to get the twists and turns the second time, despite it being beautiful. You can only be swindled once. So, shows like that, maybe something like Monster is hard to watch twice. Like, I don't know, the plot you get the plot, and it's just not as exciting the second time, I would say, despite being really good.
Yeah, I really struggled with this because I was looking through my list and I was like, I don't really see anything on my list of shows that I have seen that I wouldn't like mind watching a second time. Even like the mystery ones. I'm like, yeah, if somebody wanted to watch that with me, I'd be like, yeah, let's watch it together. And I wouldn't have like an issue with it. But the only one on my list where I was looking through that I was thinking of, I was like, maybe Grave of the Fireflies. That one, when I first saw it, I've only seen it once, but when I first saw it, I was like, yeah, this is a very important movie. but I don't really have a desire to watch it again. And it's just because it's very emotionally overwhelming, which is the point of it, and it's very effective with that. But yeah, it would make me very depressed again. So very highly recommend watching it once.
There you go.
All right.
And with that, it's time.
Yep, we're gonna do a review of Tonikaku Kawaii, Fly Me to the Moon. Not to be confused with the classic song Fly Me to the Moon. This was like a listener choice anime from the fall 2020 season. So every season we let the listeners vote on an anime for us to cover in addition to the ones that we would normally be reviewing. It's a Crunchyroll anime, so I think I watched it on a Verve, so it's kind of the same thing. The synopsis is a huge synopsis here on my anime list. I cannot read all of this. Having grown up ridiculed by his bizarre name, Nasa Yuzuki strives to remember something more. Fortunately, it seems he's on the right path, ranking first in the nation's mock exams and set to enter his high school of choice. However, everything changes on a single night when he notices a girl crossing the street on the way home, and as he's distracted by her, a more or less truck coon comes down the road and is going to hit him. However, the girl rescues him and saves his life, and Nasa musters up the courage to confess his love to her on the spot, fearing that otherwise she might just go away and he'll never see her again. And she accepts on one condition, that they get married, which he accepts before passing out and I guess going to the hospital. So that is Tonikaku Kawaii's plot synopsis from Studio 7 Arcs, who did from way back Magical Girl Lyrical Nanaha, White Album, and from director Ikehata Hiroshi of Akiba's Trip and Space Battleship Tiramisu. Guys, what were your expectations going into this? No one did an impression on this, I don't think. So I'm guessing we all were a little more blind than usual. Let's start with Mason.
So, like you said, I went in blind, and there's some iffy setup in the beginning of the show that I kind of tricked myself into accepting. And I was charmed by the first 3 episodes. And actually, in episode 549, I kind of gave it a shout out when we were kind of giving our last bid dibs for, hey, listeners, what should you vote on for the poll? I was like, hey, the opening is straight fire, and so far it's been all right, so give it a shot. And I'm not so self-absorbed where I think I made this vote happen, but maybe I nudged it in some people's directions. But overall, going into this review, I was hoping for that fluffiness to continue from the first 3 episodes.
Andy, how about you?
I didn't really know what to expect. Because when I first started hearing people talking about it, I heard people say it's about kids getting married. I was like, ooh, that sounds problematic. That sounds kind of weird. So that's like literally the only thing I knew about it when people were talking about it. But yeah, I didn't really know what else. I know I mentioned that sounds weird. Mason said, actually, it's pretty cute. So I kind of went into it a little wary, but overall, it's like, we'll see. Mason thinks it's cute, and if Mason thinks it's cute, then it must be cute.
I don't know about all that.
Because let me tell you, if Mason thinks something is cute, it must be super cute because...
At least it's Tonikaku Kawaii.
He tore Bofuri apart.
Listen, the absence of a certain unnamed... We won't get into it.
Let's see.
I learned a lot about the human condition. I'm just kidding. So sorry, Mason.
It's fine. I'm not wrong.
For my part, I went in blind. Also, I thought it was like pretty well received. I usually glance at like the My Anime List page. It had like an 8 something. I was like, oh well, it's a romance anime we missed, and it happens. So I didn't know anything about it going in. I assumed. I think the picture has her wearing like a wedding veil. So it's kind of pretty indicative of something. And I think I had heard Mandy talking about how they look like little kids and they're getting married. And I don't know. I didn't know what to expect. To me, that's like anime half the time. It's like, oh, this person's 27, but they look 14. So, I didn't really know what to expect. But the 8.3 on Mao with all the, with a grain of salt taken, is a pretty high score. So I think my expectations were pretty reasonable going in. That said, Mason, back to you at first. Your spoiler-free recommendation: would you recommend this anime to other people?
A few people, maybe. I think the show will really click for a few people, but I can't give it a wholesale recommendation, because coming back to the show after giving it some time off, coming back on episode 4 was rough. And once you get past the sweet but impossible two main characters, everyone else in the show is so flat and groan-worthy. The visuals, the plot, the concept is just kind of, I don't know, like it's a romance show, but it advances quickly because they're kind of already in a relationship and married, but it goes so quick because it can skip the bothersome work of creating things like chemistry or confession, and it leapfrogs directly into wish fulfillment. So as long as you go into this saying, like, I'm not expecting a realistic relationship, just more of a cute look into, a idealized life with a significant other, it'll be perfect for you. And it is adorable, it is relaxing, but it comes at the cost of being sometimes frustrating and kind of pandering. It seems very much that the Japanese government is just like saying, get married, kids, it'll work out for you. You can feel your weird perversions to just smell your partner all the time. And I don't know, it is not a believable romance. It's not that funny of a comedy. It's not inspiring as a coming of age story, and it has bottom tier visuals, but there's a charm to it that I think some people will enjoy if you're in the mood for it. If anything, just go listen to the opening Koi no Uta on YouTube like 12 times in a row, and that'll give you as much satisfaction as watching this entire show. So I can't give it a wholesale recommendation, but I can't not say that it could mean a lot to the right people. So I'm got to think about it a little bit more.
Mandy, how about you, Mandy?
He's got to think about it before he decides, can I recommend it?
I got to work through this review a bit, and maybe at the end I'll give it a more discreet score. But did I enjoy it at moments, but not enough to say, yes, watch this show.
Icy's going to have a hard time, because, trying to put into our sheet whether or not we recommend it. Because I think I would recommend it to people who are very big fans of the rom-com genre, where you know these tropes and you love them despite that, despite how common they are. Because I went into it very wary because of the premise, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. It's they look far younger than they actually are. And it kind of makes sense because this did air it or publish in a shonen magazine, and if your target audience is teenagers, it makes sense that they're teens. It's it's not realistic, but I get what they were going for. It's the target audience, but they, like Mason said, it has some very cute moments, but it's very tropey and it plays it very safe. All of the rom-com tropes that you know of the sex scene, the festival scene, the tournament to try and win the boy scene, or boy or girl, the ones that are always in rom-coms. All of those are in here. So if you love those tropes and you're not tired of them and you're never going to get tired of them, you should check this one out, because it does have some cute moments. Like Mason said, it skips over the whole we have to work towards the relationship, because a lot of rom-coms are the end of it is when they get together, and if you're lucky you get a kiss. But this one skips over that and is you know what, screw it, they're in a relationship, go. So that was kind of interesting, but again, it's very tropey. So if you are not absolutely in love with those tropes, then this one will probably be a hard sell for you. But it's still kind of a sweet, found family story, though. So there's that.
So is that a recommendation?
It's hard. It's I only recommend it. Look,
I know.
You know better. Shut up.
I wasn't accusing you of knowing better.
I only recommend it if you really love rom-com stories. If you are not a fan of those, there's going to be a very hard sell for you, I think. But I think people overall really enjoyed them because it's such a high score, and a lot of people watched it. So yes, I would recommend it to the rom-com fans.
Shut
up, Mason.
How was I going to
Get
put
outta
that
here.
in the spreadsheet?
Icy, you can do it. I believe.
We always do that kind of thing though, where we say, "Oh, we recommend it to this demographic."
As I adjust my Fitbit to get my blood pressure and temperature increase as I talk about this, I'm trying to decide like how hard I want to go, because I hate this anime so much. I absolutely do not recommend this anime. This anime is everything I hate about anime and none of the things I love about anime. Just everything about it was just, to me, was just like awful. I'm trying to be pretty muted because I don't want to sound like a total asshole, but like just everything from like the premise just being complete, just like the plot line of this anime is just dumpster fire level like story. Nothing makes sense. You know, they want it to be like this, oh, we're going to get married, and like, you know, first of all, what they did is impossible. Like, this anime is like, it's a square peg in a round hole to fit like some antiquated underage marriage law pandering. Like, you can get married in Japan if you're a 16-year-old girl and the boy is 18, but you have to have everyone's parental consent, which they didn't have in the show. And, you know, and like the timeline in the anime itself doesn't even flow to the point where the boy could possibly be 18. There is no possible way he's 18 in this anime, based on the facts given in the show. And it's just like, you know, and Japan itself is trying to revise this marriage law, but it's just like the whole show is like, oh, here's this wish fulfillment where we're going to marry like 16-year-old girls. And it was just like, I found it just to be like super gross. And there's like all this stuff in the anime that they did that like just makes it so obvious. Like, I don't know. It's like a romance show. Like, it's not even a good romance anime. Like, oh, they're married, but like none of the things that married people do, they can handle. Like, they're not ready for the moment. She even says like in like episode 3, like he calls her babe and she like stops him and's like, I don't know if I'm ready to be called babe. I'm like, you're fucking married. Like, why are we even watching this? Like, you know, it takes them almost the whole show to like sleep on the same futon. Like, I know people want to have like the marriage, like fantasy thing and, you know, whatever, cute, but like, they're not ready for the moment. It's not believable. It wouldn't even be legal. The stuff that the kid does, like after this, and the characters. I mean, you know what? Let's just go to spoilers. Oh my god, my blood pressure is like so high right now.
Spoilers are coming. Oh my god!
Just continue my thought for like 30 more seconds, and I'll stop.
You got it.
But like the kid quits. He's like a star student. He wants to like, oh, I'm gonna like go to the school where I can like join NASA or whatever the fuck he said, because his name's NASA. And it's like he literally quits school so that he can work at a cash register at a convenience store on the off chance he's gonna find this girl like buying gum or something, and just throws away his entire like educational career. He drops out in middle school. Meanwhile, I'm like, where the fuck are your parents? Like, oh, they're in Nara, but like no one would ever allow this to happen. And then the girl like just ghosts him. Like, she knows, she's like, oh, let's get married. Yay. Okay. We're in the snow. We're going to exchange rings. And then like, she knows he's in the fucking hospital, but no, I'm going to ghost you because I have to be gone approximately the amount of time that I've required for our marriage to be legal, so that I'm 16 and you're 18. So even though I know you're in the hospital, I'm going to ghost you. And then your whole life falls apart, depressed, and you're like, you know, you quit school and everything, so that and then I'm just gonna show up at your door, and like you're supposed to like me. He should hate this girl. Like, they were gonna get married, and then she just ghosts his ass. And I'm like, how in the hell are you gonna like take a girl back when she does that to you after like the things that you did and said? And then I don't know. It's just like just frustrating. And then we can go from there. But like, the premise is just brutal. I mean, I don't know. I don't find like the 16-year-old girl marriage thing like appealing at all, you know. And everything in it, from like a total of 3 bath scenes with her in the first 6 episodes, just points to the fact that it's just supposed to be a marriage fantasy. But like, you know, can we have like a 20-year-old girl and a 20-year-old boy where like they're ready for the moment and we get to see like what a real marriage is like? I don't know. Maybe my thoughts are like unfair, but that's just like what I took away from it. And I've never written so many notes for a show. I have I have probably 900 words of notes on my iPhone. So I don't know. It just infuriated me. Please, someone save me from myself.
No, that's. I don't think anything that you said, I would say is wrong. I would say them being like shy around one another is believable. I think just because I say, oh, these two characters are married, doesn't mean, oh, you no longer get nervous or flustered around one another. It seems like it's really just, it's more the beginning of a dating scene. These two characters just met, and marriage is the obtuse pie in the sky fantasy thing that you have to believe that is the excuse for these two characters to be together. But if you can get past that step and it's just a cute romance, I think that's what I did and why I didn't have as much of an issue with it. It was more unbelievable that a dude with a red and blue Velcro wallet could get so many ladies crushing on him. I didn't think that was possible.
Why does he have to smell her so many times? Like every episode, it's her hair, it smells good, and
I'm not.
People be smelling good.
Damn.
I'm not going to defend NASA. I think he's very creepy, and I think he brings out some of the creepy tendencies of the relationship. I think Tsukasa is pretty great, except for when she says, I'm going to stop you from eating ramen because I love you. That's crossing the line, lady. But I think I was expecting this whole like moon presence spirit. I thought she was going to be like some otherworldly being. I thought we were going to get more fantasy stuff. And no, it's just a little romance thing. I thought episode 1, which is getting hit by the truck, the marriage setup, I think that was tough to get past, but I thought, I don't know, I hate to say, oh, if you just kind of look over some of the problematic parts of the show, there's no problems with the show. I think that's not the point of critiquing and reviewing it. I think that's a lazy excuse out, but I guess, I don't know. I wasn't bothered as much by you, but I see all the flaws with it.
Can I just stop you real quick? Because Chibi Rob just dropped a nuke bomb on Twitch, and it was pretty good. He says, well, Mitz, maybe if you had nice smelling hair, you'd appreciate it more. Because I'm totally bald, so.
I mean, he's not wrong,
hilarious.
but.
Oh my God. That was just too well timed. Oh my gosh.
I guess their ages didn't really bother me as much as I thought it was going to, because I went into it thinking, oh, this is going to be bad. But it's very clear that the target audience is teenagers and not like my age, so it makes sense that they are the age of the target audience. But yeah, I don't know, it didn't really bother me. Maybe I'm also used to it because it's not unique to this anime. Almost all shoujo. Kagome and Inuyasha, look, a lot of shonen and shoujo protagonists get married when they're teenagers, so I don't know, maybe I'm used to it. It didn't really bother me.
And it helped, I think, that Tsukasa seemed so mature and put together that if she was more represented as the hyper young, like cutesy, I don't want to say lolly, but I'll say it, like, it would have come off as much more perverse and creepy, but her kind of being able to take charge, like, it seemed to lessen the blow of that fact.
I think it's just more weird that two complete strangers would just get married.
Yeah,
that was the weird part. I understand why they did it though. It's just kind of like, you know what? Screw it. Let's just speed into the romance to get there.
Speed dating. It's just they need to be together. Let's have marriage be the thing, and they can kind of talk about some. Oh, we need to get their signatures, and we need to. Oh, house and like it was.
We ain't wasting no time.
It was nah.
Why does it have to be so dumb though? Like, I mean, you could start the show with them married and like have a reasonable backstory. Like, oh, they lived next to each other growing up and fell in love when they were like 13, and and then like dated for 5 years, and boom, they're married. And then the show starts like there with like a 15-minute backstory. Like
that would be
like the
fantastic,
stuff in this.
Mitz. I would love that, but then you can't have them cutesy blustering over, because then if that was the case, you'd be like, these people have been together for 10 years, married for 5. Why are they still freaking out if they're in the same bed? Like, you can't get those same cutesy blush moments where their ankles are blushing.
Someone's gonna have to explain to me what the appeal is of like having characters that are so bumbling that they can't even like function half the time. Like, he can't even look at her hair in a bun without Master Roshi like blacking out. And it's like, I don't know, it's like, and most of the characters are like that. Like, I just don't find like the bumbling thing appealing. I don't find Tsukasa's sister coming in and wanting to marry her blood-related sister appealing. I don't think it's cute.
They're not blood related. She was adopted.
Oh, wow.
She's
So
from
it's
the moon,
still
but you're not wrong, Mitch.
Still a little weird. And like, how in the fuck are you married, but you don't know what an engagement ring is, when you don't know the difference between an engagement ring and a wedding ring when you're 18? Like,
And now the young teenagers watching know what that is.
Exactly.
It's educational, actually.
Marriage 101. I think.
I guess I just
go ahead, Mitch.
I just don't. You guys know what I'm saying, right? It's like,
yeah.
What is? I guess I don't know. I guess I'm just too old because, like, I have been married and like I've done that stuff and I just don't relate at all. But like, I guess I just missed the point. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, what is the draw that makes it like so appealing that, like, where the boy like where he can't even sleep because she's like tossing and turning on a futon on the floor. Like, why? What is it about that makes it so? Because all I was saying was fucking pull her into bed, which she does eventually, and then, and by the way, consummate the marriage, because they never did that, right? So, but like, they just don't do it.
Baby's first marriage, as I said in the every time we do a review of a romance show, like, so much of our own personal life and interpretations comes into reviewing anime, and having a relationship can color how you view relationship things. So this is, I feel like people who have been in the weeds, have been on multiple relationships, been in long-term relationships, like, will all perceive this as like, oh, this is all obvious, this is all tried and true. But Icy Rose in the chat has kind of talked about how the mangaka who wrote this is his own biography of like how he met his wife and how amazing she is, and how, almost surprised, like, wow, I met this amazing woman and she means the world to me. Like, how did I ever get so lucky? And I think a lot of that was put into here, where this character Nasa is like, wow, I met this amazing lady and now my life has changed, and like that kind of astonishment is bleeding through. And I think this is for people who are like, wow, if only I was in a relationship with a QD 3.14, I would have have a great time as well. And I think that's the angle of the wish fulfillment that it's going for. So yes, it will seem tried and trite for people who have experienced any of this before.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna hand it over to you guys here in a second, because I feel like I'm hijacking the review and I don't want to take all the time. But it's like, she's not amazing in the show. He met her for 4 seconds, and then she ghosted him. I mean, am I wrong? Like, why is that so appealing? Like, it's like, oh, I mean, his life blew up and she disappeared for 3 years. So I don't know. I don't know. I guess I didn't really get that from her. Like, she didn't seem all that, amazing. But hey, I'm gonna step back for a second and just be a backseat driver here, because I don't want to consume the entire review.
All you can handhold buffet. That sounds pretty good.
They do kiss.
Pretty good.
They do kiss.
Yeah, we got kisses. We got unadulterated hand holding. We got a scene where Nasa's in the bath and some person like pops in on him and he's completely naked and he covers up his nipples. Okay, my guy.
I must have missed.
You know what you're working with.
I must have missed that.
Yeah, when Kaname comes in, who is the best character of the show, when she talks about like the 3 misunderstandings that guys always have, and about how you need to tell people how you feel, and if you don't have guts to like, she was pretty great. But all the other characters were, especially Tsukasa's like adopted family, were very annoying.
Yeah, I guess I can see people who, this might appeal to people who really like stories about found family, because it sounded like Nasa wasn't really happy with his family. It didn't sound like they weren't like really much in contact at all, and he kind of resented them for naming him NASA or NASA after the literal NASA. But I think it was kind of cute when they went to his parents' house and introduced her, because they seemed like, just thank you so much for looking after my son. So I could see the kind of found family view or side for some people who like those kind of stories. I don't know. I think overall, I went into it thinking that it was going to be a dumpster fire. It was actually far more innocent than I thought it was going to be. So I don't know. I thought it was very tropey, and it didn't look great, especially during this year. But overall, I thought it was okay. It was cute.
The show didn't need to look great, but it looked
No,
really
no.
bad. It looked really bad. I mean,
There was some
even
bad scenes,
even
yeah.
the OP, as much as I like the song and some of the directing choices with the almost like Chinibyo like back and forth, half of the screen switching sides, even the opening was poorly animated. The music also similarly not good production. Overall, almost everything production wise about this anime was very subpar. But it did have a lot of Street Fighter in it, so
It did have
counts
Street
for
Fighter.
something.
Real Street Fighter.
Yeah, both what 5 and OG.
Yeah.
I think it had both. It had its moments, and I think it's carried by those moments. And it, I think each person likes different things. I thought the ring shopping was pretty boring, but I thought when they stopped at the truck stop for udon with the lime udon, I thought that was sweet. Like when it was just the two of them, kind of experiencing things for the first time, I thought that was when the show was at its best, which was not as frequently as I would have liked, but like I think how your expectations came into the show made a big thing. If you're expecting something great, it didn't live up to it. If you're expecting something kind of disturbing, not disturbing, but unsettling, it wasn't as good or as bad as what your expectations might be. So I thought it was a very neutral, bland show that will really hit the right notes for certain people.
I also like that Tsukasa just destroyed everybody in Street Fighter. She's like a secret prodigy. What was the other girl's name that ended up destroying her at the original?
Was it Aya?
Aya.
Yeah.
Kaname's sister. But I thought this was all going to be like, oh, Tsukasa's been around for 200 years. She's she knows all this history. She's had all this time to practice video games. She has the presence of the moon rock. They keep on talking about the moon. The show says fly me to the moon, but on all the websites it said over the moon for you. I don't know why, but I thought she was going to be the tale of Princess Kaguya and have that whole thing going for her, but it never really happened. So
yeah, I was wondering about that because they do mention Kaguya a few times, and it's clear that they're trying to draw parallels because of the whole focus on the moon. But I know the tale of Kaguya, but I didn't really see how it all tied together. But maybe I missed something.
But it would make sense why she knows about the history and all this other stuff, and why she can tank a hit by a truck.
True, yeah.
If you're willing to make a few leaps, the show is fine. But is it a remarkable show? No. Is it that memorable? No. It's just a hot new thing, and I think it'll fade pretty quickly. So.
Yeah, Tsukasa took that truck like a champ. I want to see her annoyed just go to town. I want to see them fight. Yeah, I want to see them duke it out.
Noi would have to stop fighting halfway through and just start smelling her because, she...
Oh, they would be best friends. Noi loves everybody.
They would have the udon and just enjoy. I like Tsukasa for trying new food. That counts for something. I don't know. The whole plot is very unspectacular. They go ring shopping in episode 5. They get go apartment shopping episode 6. They meet the parents episode 8. Number 10, they go cooking. It's very much nothing special, but I don't know. It's fine.
I have expected the moon people to come and take her back or something at the end of the show, because of the moon and the NASA and the Kaguya Hime, setup. And I was like, oh, episode 13, the fucking moon people come down and take her back to the moon, where she belongs. But none of that ever happened. But I'm not really sure what happened to that theme in the show. But I think they could have done something with it. But
I kind of wish we got a little bit more of Tsukasa's background because she is adopted. So, but we don't know what happened before that. It would have been nice to have a little bit of background because, General Mills in our chat mentioned that is probably her abandonment issues that kind of drove her to wanting to get married so fast. That's kind of pulls into the whole found family part of it, but because she never really had that family connection that when she went to go visit Nasa, and they got that whole like that feeling of family. So, but I kind of wish we got a little bit more of her like actual background to see how that all happened, because it is very unclear. Like, her adopted sister calls her sister, but we're not really clear what their relationship is, except I think like one line in the whole anime. But yeah, I don't know. It's been interesting.
You would think that we'd learn more about the most interesting character.
Yeah.
But we don't. I think the end of the day, if they came out with a season 2, I wouldn't watch it. I wouldn't feel the need to. I would just be like, hey, did we ever find out about her past? Oh, that's what it is? Okay, cool. Like, I think that's the biggest draw. Is I think I won't end up recommending it because I don't know why I would continue it.
I mean, she may have a very good reason for that to, have the thoughts and feelings that she has, and I don't know what those are because I haven't read the manga, and I don't know if the manga even covered it yet or what. Anime definitely doesn't. But I don't know. I just don't understand. I don't understand, again, why they start them so young in the show, like what the purpose is, because he's in middle school.
Because it's aimed at teenagers.
I mean, is it? Like, do teenagers...
Yeah, it's in a Shonen Sunday.
Do teenagers care about getting married? Like, I don't know. I mean, I don't think
it happens in shoujo all the time. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know either, but like, it just...
Everyone dreams of marriage.
Mandy, we're asking you. You're the teenager on this podcast.
I don't give a shit about marriage. Don't ask me.
It
there you
seems...
go. Teens don't like marriage.
That's true. I'm the teenager of the podcast.
Oh, wait, no,
don't question
20.
my age.
You're no longer a teenager.
Oh, I'm 20 now. That's true.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this one passed me by. Like, the tropes are just totally unappealing at this point. Like, every character in the show is so over emotional about every single scenario that they're put in. Even the parents, like, cannot handle the fact that, like, that she even exists. Like, I mean, in reality, they would have met her already because it's impossible to get married in Japan at that age without parental consent. But, but even given that they pulled off like a miracle and no parent consented, which probably is impossible, we'll put that aside. Like, the mother and father, like, they can't... Do you guys enjoy characters like that where it's like, oh, they're going to sleep on a futon in the next room. I can go, like, sleep outside in the snow if you want so you can bang in private. Like, like, no, no one behaves like this. Like, I don't know. I
think that's why it's funny, though, is because that never happens.
But I don't find that funny. That's the problem for me.
What do you find funny?
I don't find that funny. Like, or like, I have a whole list of things that NASA cannot handle. He can't handle talking about bras. He can't handle sharing a futon. He can't handle the hair buns, an apron, the pajamas. He can't handle her in a kimono. He can't handle touching her laundry on the floor. It's not even underwear. It's like t-shirts. He can't handle touching t-shirts. He, like, literally anything romantic or sexual is just too much to bear in this show for him. And I don't know. It's got to be me because I feel like everyone else at least somewhat is okay with the show or just flat out likes it. But, like, usually it's just like a boy walks in on the girl and the girl screams, and he screams, and they punch each other, and he goes up and flies Love Hina style into the sky and turns into a star. Like, okay, that's been happening since time eternal. But this show takes it, like, way further. Like, is it really that hard to pick up a dirty T-shirt?
Yes.
I mean, what the... I am...
It's the first time he touches the dirty
No,
t-shirt.
I am so...
And I wouldn't want to sleep in the bed with her either. She's whipping all over the place.
She kicks him in the face.
Her buns will get all up in my face and unfurl in my mouth and I'll choke to death. Please, I like to sleep in my own bed, please. Thank you very much.
She sleep murders.
Oh, yeah.
This show is proof that this type of show has totally left me. Completely. Like, I don't understand it. I have become... well old beyond my actual numerical years, and I'm like a 73-year-old living in the body of a mid-30s person, and like I just don't relate. I just don't understand it. Like, I can't. It's weird because I think I've seen like at least 140,000 animes like this one where like the characters are the same way, but like I think like back in the day I would have like thought, oh, like this is like, wow, that's so funny, or or okay, humdum, at least like Humpty Dumb. But now I'm like, I can't bear to watch it because the characters are so obnoxious that I just can't even. The story just totally falls apart. I don't know. It's got to be me. It must be.
Mitz doesn't have a monster one day and immediately becomes an old soul. That was his life energy that was flowing through him, and Amazon's got to get her quick.
It's got to be
no
me.
silly, no fun.
And listen, I might be playing old devil's advocate and giving the show a little more props just to butt heads with Mitz. There's nothing wrong with that, but we appreciate you, Mitz. We need this. We thank you.
I just don't know. Like, are we trying to get like a? Are they married because we want to see like two people married, or are we getting married because like the viewer wants to put themselves in like one of the characters' bodies and like take themselves to that place, or I don't, or what the purpose is, but if you can't pick a T-shirt up off the floor, it doesn't really feel like you're married. So I don't know. I just don't understand. Please help me. Does that make sense?
You're not wrong.
I don't know.
Like I said, I think marriage is just the loose framework for them to be together. This is a blossoming
I don't think it's meant to be a serious anime.
That's probably
it's
true.
It's very much just a silly rom-com.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think they're concerned with accuracy.
And like I said, I think it's probably a me problem. From what I can see, people like this anime quite a lot. It was very highly viewed, very, very well regarded. Most of the people on the Twitch are, I'm just old and stuff, and you guys don't hate it. So it's just me. So everyone listening should take it with a grain of salt. Maybe you should try it anyway. But I don't know. I'm off my meds. I don't know what to say. And well, I don't know if we need to get into that, but there are some interesting questions being asked on Twitch about the characters. But that last question that was asked is kind of irrelevant for various reasons. They do kiss. I did appreciate that. So
episode 3, 4, pretty early on.
Probably almost every episode after the first kiss. But
the kisses looked really ugly, though. Let's be honest. They were pretty ugly looking kisses.
Any kiss to base it. I'm just kidding.
It's the spread of cooties they're not 6 feet apart. Come on.
There were a couple.
I don't have anything else to say.
There were a couple times in the show where I thought because there was a spot in episode 11 where I was kind of not paying that close of attention and I start watching it again and he's kissing her in the futon and he's working his way down and I'm like, whoa, wait a second. What is going on here? And then he gets to about the collarbone and then she stops him and I'm like, God damn it. It was go NASA, go NASA, go NASA, go NASA, go. And then the space shuttle didn't launch, but I was really rooting for
she was like, I don't want to get what you got.
What? Is that what happened?
He was feeling under the weather.
I don't think anybody really cares.
He was feeling hot and bothered.
All right.
Mostly bothered.
Yeah, mostly bothered. He wasn't that sick. So, we'll just say that much.
The sickness for the... No, I'm not going to say it.
Sickness for the... Well, what rhymes with sick?
Leave it to your imagination.
Yeah, okay. I'm sorry. I feel like I ruined the review, but...
No.
I think we got the point across.
I think we did too.
But NASA did not get the point across. He did not.
Not score a touchdown.
If you get what I'm saying. Yeah. There were no you know what? Guys, that's the review.
We have a hentai episode today.
We do. We do. And it
carry that energy into that.
Yep. And in this hentai episode, well, you know what? You guys you'll just have to listen and find out because I reviewed 2 episodes of a show that were pretty wild. So, but next week I believe we are reviewing Akudama Drive. The week after that we are reviewing the Misfit Demon King Academy, and then the week after that, the 24th, is the beginning of the Winter 2021 impressions. And I know we're not reviewing or doing impressions on the Attack on Titan season 4, but I did watch the first 3 episodes of it, and holy shit, I don't think I've ever seen a first episode that just exciting ever. And I'm not even an Attack on Titan honk, but that first episode Like, if I was wearing socks, they blew off. If I was wearing shoes, they blew off, broke a window. The socks went off too, and all my toenails came off because that first episode was fucking crazy. So if you haven't seen that first episode of Attack on Titan, go check that out for sure. We are on Twitch. We are on Twitter. If you want to check us on Twitter, you can follow the podcast at AAA Podcast. You can follow me at Pope Mitsugi. Mandy, Mason, where can the people find you?
I am Mandy X Mandy. The Mandy's with an I on Twitter. And I talk about video games, sometimes ferrets, sometimes anime. Who knows?
But always talking about Noi.
Always Noi and always Hunter x Hunter.
And Hades and all that other.
And Hades. It's Hades right now.
It's not over
My
yet.
obsessions change.
You can find me at Macy Pacey. Those are both with Y's. And I don't know what I'm doing these days, but it's pretty interesting. Go check it out.
What else would Macy Pacey be spelled with?
I don't know.
An S?
All sorts of things.
I guess an I. Macy Pacey. I don't know.
You can also find us on Facebook, facebook.com/group/AAA podcast. Of course, Discord is along the top of the website. You just click the button, boom, you're on the Discord with thousands of other people just like you. So head over to the Discord and you can enjoy other fun activities. Mason, what do you have going on the Discord right now?
We got the Anime Club. Next one is January 13th. We're watching the entire season of 1 of March Comes In Like a Lion. Those 22 episodes, so get on it. It's on Funimation, Crunchyroll, Netflix, anywhere. Just please watch it. It's really good. And we also, if you have some New Year's resolutions going on, we have the running club going, and we need people to run some miles so we get to our January goal. So do that while you're there.
This Wednesday, Manga Club is coming back after a month hiatus, and that is January 6th, and on the Discord at 10 p.m. EST, and we will be discussing the first 4 volumes of Yona of the Dawn. So if you have read those, come join us. If you have not, you still have some time. Read those. Come join us on the Discord. It'll be a fun, laid-back discussion.
All right, you guys heard it there. Head over to the Discord. Good stuff happening. All right, we've done it once again. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you to everybody who stuck with us all the way on Twitch. We had a pretty big audience today. And we'll see you guys next week on the podcast. So until then, be safe. Everybody have a good week, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Ja, Mata.